No, certainly not. Let's zoom out a little bit here because obviously one of the big storylines for the year and one of the big storylines for major championships is that the LIV golfers are here. And now that we finally made the cut, we can kind of look back and see how they've done thus far. By my count, I've got 11 out of 18 through the cut line with Koepka leading by 4. We've got, where's Phil? Phil is
He's
4 under.
T8.
Yeah, T8, which I completely thought there was no chance he was going to contend. Neiman is T8 as well. Reed is T17. Just Cam Smith, T23. We already talked about Dustin Johnson. Those are kind of the notables. Would you say that the LIV guys are over exceeding their expectations?
It depends on whose expectations you're looking at, right?
Sure.
I mean, this is a big factor to consider here. There are so many LIV players here because there are so many Masters champions who are on LIV. Right, a big number of Masters champions have gone over. You consider Dustin Johnson and Schwartzel and Reed and Mickelson. You got a handful of Masters champions playing on that tour, and then with the players who, maybe a little bit younger, you had Koepka into the mix, you had Cam Smith into the mix, and Joaquin Neiman into the mix, and those are very capable players, right? They were very capable last year. And I don't think that 6 months on a different tour, inhibits your ability by that much. We may find out that it doesn't inhibit your ability at all. For that reason, it doesn't surprise me. It doesn't surprise me to see Phil Mickelson playing well at Augusta National. He always plays well at Augusta National. It doesn't surprise me to see Joaquin Neiman playing well. He's really good. In 2022, he dominated the Genesis Invitational. Right, he ends up going to LIV, but what is his talent just going to fall out the window as soon as he makes that decision? No. Cam Smith came and tied third here last year, solo third. He was right there at a chance to win. And he's the most recent major champion. So no, that's not surprising to me at all. To have Brooks Koepka playing the way that he's playing, as perfect as it's been. Yeah, that's a surprise to me. And that, but not because he's a LIV golfer. I mean, that would be a surprise to me if it was anybody except Rahm, Scheffler, or McIlroy. If it's anybody else, if it's Max Homa, if it's Xander Schauffele, if it's anybody else in the world of golf, it's a surprising performance because it's been just that good.
Yeah, and I'd actually say, like, okay, Brooks Koepka's a 4-time major champion. He's at the top of the leaderboard. But I think the big question is, or was, like, only playing, or I guess playing fewer competitive rounds leading into a major championship. Was that going to hinder their ability to play? I think at this point, resounding no is the answer to that question.
Yeah, I think so too. I'll be very curious when we get to a U.S. Open, a PGA champion. My guess is you're going to have a smaller number playing in the PGA. I'm not sure exactly what that's going to look like.
Oh, I saw it a couple of weeks ago. I don't know if I can find it though.
But a PGA championship, a U.S. Open, and an Open championship. When you go to some different venues, are you going to see this similar performance? Because like I said, I think these are players with great records at Augusta National. And we know, Rick, that playing Augusta National, course history and experience are extremely important. And the truth is that the LIV players have it. So whether or not they come in sharp or not, they seem to have the ability to find something here, which is true of players on LIV. It's true of players on the PGA Tour as well. So that would be my general takeaway. Why I'm not really surprised. Except for Koepka, he's surprising me.
A top 12, right, would get them back in. Would get anybody who finishes in the top 12 gets in next year. Is that right? To the Masters.
To the Masters, yes, right. And top 4 in the other majors gets into the Masters.
So really, I'm just kind of looking at some potential ramifications because there's a lot of golf is going to be played on Sunday, and these leaderboards can jump all around. But some subplots, if you want to follow, Neiman would be the one who is not currently qualified for next year, right? Who, if he finished inside the top 12, could get himself in the Masters because he would have gotten in on his OWGR or his Riviera win, but he would not be qualified for next year unless he finishes inside the top 12.
Correct.
Or does something at another major.
And it would not be the Riviera win, I don't think. And do you get 3 years? You get 3 years for the players.
So you know what? I'm a year behind.
He would have played,
yeah.
right. He would have gotten in last year on his Riviera win.
Correct.
So he's in on world golf rankings.
That's right.
And we know the trend. That's very unlikely to hold up for another year, being in the top 50, unless something dramatic changes. So yeah, that for him, that's a really big deal. And he's probably the most notable.
Yeah. And I think he's kind of the only one in, like, Mickelson's in for life. So it doesn't matter if it's T8 or T48, he'll be able to play. Reed, same thing. He's at T17. I'm just trying to see who else. Cam Smith, he's got a couple more years, obviously, because of his Open Championship win. So really the next, if I'm not missing anybody, the next guy would be Gooch, who's T37. So he would have some work to do to get up there. So really Neiman is the one guy in position to get himself another Masters start.
And Koepka, I know he's if he doesn't win, he's definitely going to finish in the top 12.
I forgot. Yeah.
But he won his last major was 2019. So that would be the 20 Masters, 21, 22, 23. So next year would be his last on that exemption. A win obviously changes that for the rest of his life.